Hey there viewers, Tanner here, and welcome to a tutorial on how to repair temporarily a partially severed laptop charger. In this case, I'm working with a Dell charger that was just slightly chewed through by a bunny, and we already ordered a new one, but we need to get this one to work until then. And you can see here that there's a wire that's been pretty nicely gnawed up and exposed. So we're going to figure out exactly what's wrong with this and then hopefully fix the problem until the new one comes. Now there are two things that you're going to need no matter what. An X-Acto knife or a box cutter would work as well. Maybe a pocket knife, but this is probably your best bet. And electrical tape. If your wires are simply stripped off the insulation and shorting, then that's all you need, because all you have to do is cut open the insulation on the outside, separate the wires, put some tape around them so they aren't touching anymore, and then you're done. However, if a wire is severed completely or enough so that it's not getting enough power through it, you're also going to need a piece of wire to splice in and fix, a pair of wire cutters, as well as something for crimping. And then if you also are going to be splicing wires together, you're going to need a selection of connectors. Either butt connectors like this. Yes, I know, haha, butt connectors. Or a closed-in connector, such as this. My camera crapped out the first time that I was removing the insulation to find out exactly where the problem is. But you can see here, the idea is to just take your X-Acto knife and plunge through the middle slowly until you feel the first layer of insulation has been broken. Then flip it over, do the same to the other side, going straight through the middle. You can see I already have a line there. And then you just take your X-Acto and cut really, really lightly from one of those lines to the other around the outside. If you go too deep, you're going to cut your wire in half, or at least cut the insulation, which could end up being a problem. Once the exterior insulation is off, you'll be able to see exactly what the problem is with your wires. Hopefully, if it's easy enough, it's just a small bit of insulation that's been removed, causing the two wires to touch and short out. And you just have to separate the wires, wrap them in some electrical tape, and then rewrap the entire thing where you removed your insulation. Now that we've gotten the insulation on the outside completely pulled, we can see that it's only one wire that's severed, which means we're not actually shorting out. We just aren't getting power through this wire. Because of that, what we're going to have to do is strip off the insulation on these entirely and then splice in a new piece of wire to connect these. First thing we're going to want to do is actually level off the end and get rid of all that wire that's been slightly jacked up. So we'll splice here. Now you can see we've got a good clean end on there. And do the same to the other side of the wire. As close to the top as possible, just to keep us as much working room as we can. A little bit too far up right now. About there. I'm probably going to need a little bit more length to work with, so I'll go ahead and get some more length out of both of these off camera. First things first, let's strip off a small length of this wire to splice in. We know this is 18 gauge. All we do is look at our wire stripper. Bottom's 22 or 20. Next one up's 18. So grab this guy, stick it into the 18 slot. Try to leave a little bit still intact, so about that much. Bring it down. Give it a twist. And a pull. And voila, there we have some exposed wire. Now we'll do that to our other guy as well. Here I've got a hunk of wire that is actually 16 gauge. But like I said, this is very temporary, quick fix, and I'm not really worried about the gauge being larger because it goes right back to smaller immediately. So we know we've got about maybe an inch that we need, but it's better to have a little more than too much, or a little more than too little, rather. So I'll cut off a few inches worth, 2.5 inches, something like that. So I'll go ahead and splice one end together and then cut the other one where I think I need it. I might not even cut it. I might leave it like this. That way there's less chance of it wiggling and it gives it some more room to work with rather than having a chance of just pulling out. This is actually 16 gauge, so we'll move up one more. And I will go ahead and splice, or not splice, but strip this end here. Give it a twist and a pull. So what I'll do here is just take the section of wire that I already split, grab it, and you're going to line them up so they're parallel, like this. And just twist your wires together. Just crank them in like that. And once they seem like they're pretty solidly bound up, you can take them and fold it over the top. That way it'll fit inside of our closed-end connector a little better. The snugger the better here. And I'm no electrician, so that's not really the cleanest bunch of wires right there, but it's good enough for me. So then we take these guys, shove it up inside our hole. It's a little bit difficult since I didn't cut off too much insulation. We're just getting it inside of that hole there as far as we can. Twisting helps, and it also helps twist the wires even more. And then once we think we have it close enough, all we do is take this guy, and you can see there are closed-in connector crimpers on top there. This is a 14 to 18, so we'll just use this guy right here, the middle one, and crimp her down. You want to crimp as close to the bottom as possible. Really squeeze it nice and tight. And then give it a little tug. Just make sure that it's not going to easily pop off. Feels pretty good to me. And now we have to strip our other end off. So we'll go ahead and do that. So now that that's stripped off, we just do the same exact thing we did here, but on this side. I find it helps to sort of put the crimper bottom against the table like this, and then force down while you're squeezing. Feels pretty decently snug. It doesn't look too bad really, but let me find out where the tension is. It's definitely on the white actually. So this actually isn't that bad. I'll just go ahead and tape it up this way then. So, like I said, not going to be the prettiest thing, and definitely not meant for long-term use, but it's enough to get you by until you can get a new charger. And that's all there is to it. Now you can reconnect the power cord to the rest of the module, and go plug it in, and resume using your laptop. As with any video on the internet, nobody here is an expert really, and I definitely am not. And you should be careful with doing anything with electricity. And if I burn your house down, I'm not responsible. If I accidentally shock you, not responsible. If anything stupid happens, not responsible. But I hope this was helpful. And I hope that this didn't get fried whenever your thing shorted out, because then you're pretty much out of luck until you get your new charger. And if you have any questions about this, then feel free to put them in the comments below. And thanks a lot for watching.